Welcome back. You are listening to the Mario Mukunda Show on Salam Media. And if you have any comments, questions, queries, or suggestions, you may leave them in the comments section below. I'm going to be chatting to dog trainer Ziad Samrad from the Comprehensive Canine Solutions about how to train a dog for personal protection. Now, you're probably wondering, you need extra protection because the bodyguards ain't doing much. Maybe you need a dog for personal protection. But what goes into this whole training of a dog for personal protection? What types of dogs do you need to look for, etc.? Let's find out more because the person who's going to give us that information is Ziad. Assalamu alaikum, Ziad.
Walaikum salam, Mariam. Assalamu alaikum to all of your viewers and listeners as well. Thank you for having me on your show.
Alhamdulillah, shukran for joining me. All right, so firstly, what can you train a dog to do?
Okay. Look, we offer an basic obedience training program, which gets your dog, under control and manageable. And most people can get access to, a school to do that. And then you get the protection training and the basic attack training program as well. That gives the dog the understanding of how to bite, who to bite, helps them to understand their aggression a little bit more, gives them a base from which to work from. So that's where you get the guarding instincts being developed and where you get the security aspect of the dog actually coming out. Then the other training which can be done also relating to security is tracking. So tracking of a suspect, retrieving stolen goods that might have been, taken away. Those are the three basic options which are available for most dogs. And then, you get scent detection and the likes. But regarding security, there's basic security, basic training which you can do, and then there's a more advanced personal protection training program as well, which a lot of clients look at doing as well. Yeah.
All right. Now, for personal protection, what dogs would be best for this type of protection, for personal
Okay.
protection as well as attacking?
Okay. Look, obviously some dogs are more aligned, to be, and they're bred to be security orientated, like German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Boer Bulls, Pit Bulls also, Malinois. Often it also boils down to the individual dog's temperament. That's a big factor when it comes to the training itself. But breed does play a big difference. You want a nice, big, intimidating dog as well. But it's important to have a dog that is, under control, manageable, predictable, safe around kids as well. There are a number of breeds, but even some crossbreeds also work, quite well in that regard. And like I say, it comes down to the individual temperament of the dog. You could have, a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler, but it could just be a very soft-natured dog, and that dog wouldn't be comfortable with biting or with attacking somebody as such. And then you get, other dogs which could be, less aggressive looking, but they've got a lot more fight in them and they're a little bit more boisterous and more aggressive. So that's the other factor, when it comes down to choosing a specific dog. But I can say, however, that the breeds like a Labrador, they usually don't bite, and a breed like a Husky, Siberian Husky, they usually don't bite. So those are basically the two breeds that we wouldn't be able to do, or we struggle to do the attack training program with.
All right. So, if one is looking for a dog breed that would be able to guard and attack, which are the ones that we should look for?
Look, I would say, a lot of people are looking for family dogs, to protect their families as well. So it's important
Mhm.
to get a well-balanced dog. Like a German Shepherd is actually very, very good. Rottweilers are also quite good as protection dogs, and then Boer Bulls are also bred in that way, Pit Bulls as well. But it's important to understand something that, a lot of dogs are raised as pets. And in raising the dog in that way, the dog is always discouraged from showing any aggression or growling or anything like that. So it does become difficult for that dog, to then be able to identify a threat and to react accordingly without having received the proper training. So, like I say, the breed is definitely, one factor to it. But we've even managed to do the attack training with the smaller dogs, like we've done it with the pug, we've done it with Jack Russells as well. And it was just to get the dogs, they enjoyed it, they wanted to do it, the owners wanted to do it. And it's important that the manner in which the dogs are trained doesn't negatively affect the dog in any way. So the dog shouldn't come back traumatized or withdrawn or, biting out of fear. We want the dog to bite out of confidence and to understand when to bite and that it's actually okay to bite. Now, by raising a dog at home and not giving him, proper exposure to attack training or giving him any experience with biting anybody in a controlled way, the dog doesn't understand that that's actually something that you want him to do. And that's why a lot of people, they'll buy a security dog breed. And unfortunately, the dog just wouldn't be able to identify that, oh, okay, suddenly now, today you want me to attack somebody, but all along, I've just been playing with everybody and that sort of thing. So, once you've gotten the right dog with the right temperament, even mixed breeds are fine. It's then important to get the dog trained so that he understands that he is actually allowed to do that, to be that security for the family, to show that aggression in a controlled way. Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of my brother's dog. He has a pit bull, and there was once a threat outside the home, and my brother went to get the dog to attack, but instead the dog decided to start playing with everyone else. We were like, "No, dog, attack!" So funny situation. All
No,
right, so
that's exactly it. Unfortunately, because the dog hasn't done it before, he just has no idea that now in this situation I'm supposed to attack. Yeah.
all right. So when should this the training begin? As a puppy, or can you start at any age of the dog's age?
We usually do obedience training or recommend obedience training from about 6 months old. That's because it's easier, so the dog stays with us. But you can do socializing and puppy socializing and that sort of thing from 8 weeks old is fine. So and the more exposure the dogs get to other dogs, to other environments, the better it is. The proper attack training program, we usually start from about 11 months old, 10, 11 months old, up until 8, 9 years old. Obviously, the older the dogs get, they tend to become a little bit more lazier. They don't have that same feistiness as what they have when they are younger. But generally, a good age to do the attack training is from about a year old. And up in between a year and 2 years to 3 years, you generally get very, very good results from the training. But when raising a puppy, keeping in mind that you do want to have him as a security dog, it's good to play, sort of aggressive games, boisterous games, get the dog worked up a little bit, play tug of war with the dog. Those are all things which you can do yourself at home to build the confidence of the dog up so that the dog doesn't react out of fear or run away, or shy away when there's any commotion. But the dog needs to go out and want to get involved and see what's going on. And it's important to do the training so that it doesn't make the dog too aggressive in any way or unpredictably aggressive, especially around kids. So by having the dog untrained, the dog is running completely off instinct. And this is what the dog, when the dog is deciding himself when to be protective, when to show aggression, he's leaving it up to himself to read a situation, and that's where kids get bitten accidentally. If they're running or screaming, the dogs get excited. Sometimes dogs, a lot of young dogs, they jump on top of kids, that pushes them down. The kid screams, and that can trigger off an attack. So by doing proper attack training through positive reinforcement and confidence building training methods, it helps the dog to understand that that is not a threat and that I attack on command when I'm outside of my territory. But at home, anything out of the norm, if somebody jumps over the wall and suddenly the dog looks up and he sees someone there, or at night, there's nobody in the yard usually, but suddenly he sees someone in the yard, the dog should react aggressively. They should attack. They should bite. They should bite onto the arm and hold, and not bite on the neck, the face, bite and let go. It's just to basically restrain the perpetrator from getting away until the dog is given the release command. So it's important to have that predictable side out. It's not only about having an aggressive dog, because a well-trained dog is not aggressive all the time. It's only aggressive under certain situations. Otherwise, anybody should be able to walk up to a dog, pet the dog on the edge, outside of their home, pet the dog on the head if he's on a leash, greet the dog, and he shouldn't growl and be all unpredictable. That's not what. That's dangerous, and that's where people end up with legal issues and further issues like that. Yeah.
And also this thing of people training dogs for dog fighting instead of, just training the dogs to be a guard dog or protection dog. Now, what about keeping a dog, isolated from everyone and it just gets to see the owner, etc.? Well, what does that do to a dog?
You see, it's important that the dog has got some stimulation and exposure and an area to run and to exercise and that sort of thing. A lot of people, what happens is they get a power breed like a Rotti, a Rottweiler, a Pit Bull, something like that. And eventually the dog becomes unmanageable even for them themselves. The dog keeps on jumping or keeps on chewing at them, or it
Mm-hmm.
just becomes a situation that's uncontrollable and it's not pleasant for them. And unfortunately, those dogs then get left in a small corner of the yard, and they don't get much attention, they don't get any interaction. Those dogs, it's like putting a very intelligent person into an enclosed space with no interaction. As soon as he gets out, the dog loses control. He becomes aggressive. They can't identify. They haven't had any socializing, any love, any attention, and it does negatively affect the dog. But it does make the dog very, very aggressive. Generally, it makes the dogs aggressive, or it keeps the dogs aggressive. Or the other thing is that could happen: the dog could become very depressed. It's not natural, for a dog to be kept in a situation. However, the flip side of that is this. If your dog has been trained or is an attack dog, or even if you haven't yet the training, but you want to keep the guarding instinct of the dog up, then it is important to limit the amount of exposure that the dog gets to other people. So if you've got a gardening service, if you've got contractors, a plumber, someone coming into your yard that you don't want your dog to be familiar with, and it isn't there every day, then keep your dog locked up away when that person is there, or when those people are there. Keep them away from other people in their own territory. And that reinforces in the dog that nobody else should be in my territory without my owner's permission at the same time as me. And that's important also to maintain the training going forward. If you have your dog fully trained, or you train your dog as an attack dog, or you do something to develop those instincts, but at the same time, you're running a creche or a school at your home, and you've got people walking in and out, and kids and adults, then suddenly for the dog to be able to identify a threat is very difficult, because he's been exposed to too many people and his aggression is then lowered and saturated because he's out of that mode now of being a security dog. He's gone more into being a pet dog. So it's important then that you limit that amount, that exposure at home, but still interact freely with your dog. Your family members should be able to play, walk him, all of that. But to just keep a dog isolated, and expect him to be okay, and I think we've also got a obligation and a responsibility to the animals to make sure that they are being well maintained and that they are mentally okay. And putting them alone in a cage, leaving them the whole day, is not ideal. They should get some stimulation, have access to a bigger environment, another dog, some kids, some toys. But I know a lot of people, unfortunately, they do that, and it's detrimental to the dogs, mental health as well.
Mm-hmm. So is that mental health reversible?
Look, it is. We've had dogs coming into us that were 4 years old. They didn't even have names. They were just dog one and dog two. And they came straight from a breeder. They haven't left their kennels. They had no exposure, no socializing. It took us a lot longer. We just did obedience for those dogs because we're already too aggressive. So we only did obedience training. It normally takes us 3 to 4 weeks to have a dog fully trained for obedience. This took us
Mhm.
almost 2 months, to do it because we had to really build the dog's confidence, build their trust, help them to understand. get them comfortable with other dogs, around other dogs so that they don't react aggressively, they don't get scared. So it is a process, it is reversible. And look, from our side, we've noticed that all dogs are trainable. Some just take more time than others to be trained. And it's important that you give the dog the time that they need to complete the training and to successfully reach their full potential. If you push a dog too much in the training, and the dog is not ready, it can set the dog back. And that's not what we want to do. From day one, it's important to build the confidence of the dog, build it, build it, build it, so that when the dog leaves, they're confident, they relax, they're predictable, and they're safe. And even if it takes a little bit longer, just give the dog the chance, and you can get the result. Yeah.
Okay, so if it takes 2 to 3 weeks for the obedience training, what about the other training? How long does that take?
Okay. The obedience training is 3 to 4 weeks. The
3 to 4.
obedience and attack, the combined obedience and attack training takes us around 5 to 6 weeks to complete. Now, keeping in mind, not all dogs are biting dogs or are aggressive dogs by nature. So, out of every 100 dogs that have come in, only 3% of those dogs would bite without really being provoked on the first time that they are given an opportunity. About 10% of the dogs that come in are very, very soft-natured dogs and need to do a lot more confidence building, and that takes us a lot longer. So, two factors which also determine or affect the duration of the training are the confidence that we need to instill and build in the dog. If the dog comes in as a scared, skittish dog, shy dog, it takes a lot more work to get them comfortable enough to bite. And the other thing is socializing. Depending on how much of exposure the dog has had to other dogs and to other people, some dogs are very aggressive, and some dogs are very aggressive to other dogs and very distracted. So that also can take a little bit of time, to get them to their full potential.
Okay, how can our listeners contact K9 if they need any more information on dog training or to train their dogs?
Okay. We do have a Facebook page that's quite active. There's a lot of videos of the dogs that we've trained. There's a lot of feedback and comments as well from clients. So they can look for us on Facebook. It's Comprehensive K9 Solutions, K9 letter K and number 9. We are also on Instagram, also at Comprehensive K9 Solutions. And we've got a website, comprehensivek9solutions.co.za. And you can contact us on WhatsApp or cell phone 082 575 1009.
1009. All right. Shukran so much for your time and for the information, and have a wonderful day.
Shukran. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. All right. If you need any more information on how to train your dog for protection or obedience, or the full package, you can go to www.comprehensive-k9-solutions.co.za. The information is on screen. They are also on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Just look for a Comprehensive K9 Solutions. And for more information by WhatsApp, you can contact 087-575-1009 and get your dog trained if you want it to do the things that you want it to do. Don't just tell your dog, go bite, and then the dog is just like, do what? What did you say? Bite? Bite who? It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about because my brother was like, go and attack. And the dog was like, hey, it's time to play, guys. And the dog was not having all of that attack vibes going on. So it was not trained. So I think I'm going to try and convince my brother to go to K9 Solutions and have his dog trained there as well. Yeah, if you have any comments and questions, you may leave them in the comment section below, or you can send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 061 766 0355. Do stay with us. We